The building looked peaceful from the outside. But inside, a billion-dollar disaster was quietly spreading like poison. And only one person saw it coming. Not the CEO. Not the directors. Not the financial experts. A 27-year-old cleaning lady, who everyone walked past without noticing. Her name was Mara Lewis. Soft-spoken. Hard-working. Invisible to most people. But in the night everything almost collapsed. She became the only reason the company survived. It began 3 days earlier. Daniel Hartman, the company's young CEO, stood by the window of his top-floor office, staring down at the city lights. His company, once valued in billions, was collapsing faster than he could save it. Contracts disappearing. Investors pulling back. A sudden hole in the accounts no one could explain. And every time Daniel tried to look deeper, he felt someone was blocking him. Inside the office, broken sleep and fear lived permanently. Downstairs, while everyone else rushed home, Mara pushed her cleaning cart through the silent hallways. Unlike others, she always looked around carefully. She noticed small things. Things people ignored. A loose folder on a desk. A computer left logged in. A few financial reports thrown in a trash bin, reports that didn't match public numbers. But that night, something unusual happened. As Mara cleaned the executive floor, she noticed 2 senior employees whispering near the copy room. Their voices were low, nervous, and hurried. Delete everything by morning. If Daniel finds the source, we're done. I already moved the documents. No one checks the maintenance folder. It looks empty. Good. By the time the board realizes the loss, he'll be blamed, not us. Mara froze. She was hidden behind the corner, holding her mop, heart racing in her chest. She didn't understand every word. But she understood enough. Someone inside the company was stealing. And they were setting up Daniel to take the fall. When the employees left, Mara stepped into the hall, hands trembling. For a long moment, she just stood there, trying to breathe. She knew the rule. Stay out of company business. Clean quietly. Don't get involved. Don't risk the job that pays for her mother's medical treatments. But then she whispered to herself, if I don't tell him, his whole company will die. The next evening, when Daniel stayed late again, Mara walked to his office door. Her palms were sweaty. Her voice unsteady. She knocked once. Soft. Faint. Unsure. Daniel opened the door with tired eyes. Mara? Is everything okay? She nodded nervously, then shook her head, then tried again. Sir. I think something bad is happening in the company. Something you don't know. Daniel stared at her, confused. What do you mean? She took a breath. And in that moment, the story truly began. Because what she was about to reveal would expose a billion-dollar betrayal. And change both of their lives forever. Daniel didn't speak at first. He just stood there in the doorway, staring at the young cleaning lady who looked more terrified than he felt. The CEO of a collapsing corporation, staring at a girl holding a mop. But Daniel saw something in her eyes. Not panic. Not gossip. Not confusion. Truth. Come in, he finally said. Mara stepped inside slowly, as if she wasn't sure she was allowed to walk on the expensive carpet. Daniel closed the door behind her. What did you hear? He asked. Mara swallowed hard. Before we continue, take a moment to like this video. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you never miss the next story. 2 executives, on the 14th floor. They said they were going to delete everything by morning. And that if you found the real source of the losses, they'd be finished. Daniel's chest tightened. Which executives? I don't know their names, she whispered. But one had a silver badge. And one kept mentioning something about rerouted accounts. Daniel felt heat rise in his neck. Silver badge. Only senior financial officers had that. Are you sure about this? He asked quietly. Mara nodded, though her hands shook. I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want trouble. But they talked about hiding documents in the maintenance folders. Sir, I clean those rooms every day. If they're hiding something, I can find it. Silence. Heavy. Sharp. Electric. Daniel leaned back against his desk, processing what he'd heard. For weeks he'd felt blindfolded. Sabotaged. Cornered by invisible hands. And now, Someone who was supposed to be invisible was showing him the path he couldn't see. Mara, he said carefully, why are you helping me? You don't even know me. She looked down, twisting her fingers nervously. Because this company pays for my mother's dialysis. If it collapses, I won't afford her treatment. And because, her voice cracked. Because you treat everyone with respect. Even me. Daniel exhaled slowly. A mix of guilt. And gratitude. And something he couldn't name. What exactly were they hiding, he asked. Mara took a breath. There's something I didn't show you yet. She reached into her cleaning cart and pulled out a folded paper, crumpled, dusty, and found where no executive would ever look. I found this under the maintenance panel near the 12th floor, she said. Someone stuffed it there. It has dates, access codes, and numbers that don't match any normal entries. Daniel unfolded it. His jaw tightened instantly. These were internal reroute codes. Codes for shifting money between offshore accounts. Codes only 3 people in the entire company had access to. His closest senior team. It felt like ice slid down his spine. Do you know what this means? He whispered. Mara shook her head. It means someone isn't just stealing, Daniel said slowly. They're framing me. Mara stepped back, instinctively afraid of the anger rising in his voice. But Daniel wasn't angry at her. He was angry at the truth. He looked at her again, his voice firm. I need your help. If you're willing. Mara froze. Me? Yes. You said you can find what others can't. You walk through every room, every corner, every hidden space. You know the places no executive ever thinks about. She hesitated, fear flickering in her eyes. Sir. I'm just a cleaning lady. Daniel shook his head. No. You're the only person in this building who isn't lying to me. A long silence passed between them. Then Mara nodded, slow, uncertain, but brave. What do we have to do? She asked softly. Daniel stepped closer. We start tonight. Because if the saboteurs deleted the remaining evidence, the company would be destroyed. Daniel would take the blame. And Mara's mother would lose her treatment. And the truth would vanish forever. Tonight. They would enter the maintenance floors. The server archive. The restricted rooms. Rooms even the CEO didn't know existed. And in those rooms, the truth waited in the dark. Night settled over the building like a warning. Most employees had already gone home. The lights were off. Hallways empty. Only the echo of distant machines remained. Daniel stood near the service elevator, hands clenched, heart pounding. He had faced investors, reporters, entire boards of directors. But tonight felt different. Tonight felt dangerous. The elevator dinged softly. Mara stepped out, wearing her uniform, hair tied back, clutching her cleaning cart like a shield. But her eyes, those steady, sharp eyes, held more courage than most executives Daniel had ever worked with. You're sure you want to do this? Daniel whispered. Mara nodded. If they erase those files, everything will be gone by morning. The elevator doors closed behind them. They went down instead of up. To the maintenance floors. The parts of the building where executives never went. Where cameras were sparse. Where secrets could hide without witnesses. Mara led the way with surprising confidence. She knew these halls. Every corner. Every dark turn. Every room no one else paid attention to. They reached a locked metal door marked. Restricted access, server maintenance. Daniel scanned his badge. Red light. Mara didn't even look surprised. They blocked you, she whispered. I think they expected you to come here. Daniel's stomach dropped. Then how do we get in? Mara reached into her cart. And pulled out a small ring of keys. Daniel blinked. You have access? She shrugged softly. Sir, cleaners go everywhere. She tried 3 keys until... Click. The lock turned. They stepped inside. Cold air hit them. Rows of metal racks. Cables hanging like veins. Server lights blinking in the darkness. And then Daniel saw it. A workstation left on. Someone had been here recently. Someone who shouldn't be. Mara whispered, look. On the screen, a progress bar moved slowly. Erasing archived financial records, 18%. Daniel's pulse spiked. They're deleting everything, he whispered. We're just in time. He rushed forward and tried to stop the process. Access denied. Mara stepped beside him. "There's another way," she said softly. "The copied files, the executives hid them physically." Daniel turned sharply. "How do you know?" Mara pointed toward a wall panel. "Because every night I sweep this room. And last week, I noticed the screws on that panel were moved." Daniel stared at her. "You noticed that?" She gave a tiny smile. "When you clean for a living, you see every small thing." They hurried to the panel. Daniel unscrewed it. Behind it, a hidden compartment. Inside, a flash drive. A stack of printed offshore statements. Signatures proving the internal fraud. And a list, names of every executive involved. Daniel felt like the ground shifted beneath him. This was everything. The truth. The blueprint of the sabotage. Evidence no one could deny. And it all existed because a cleaning lady noticed screws. He turned to her. But before he could speak, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Heavy. Fast. Coming straight toward them. Someone shouted. "Check the server room. They must be there." Mara's face went pale. Daniel grabbed the evidence, stuffed it inside his jacket. "We need to hide," he whispered. Mara looked around frantically. Then pointed toward a small gap behind the server racks. They squeezed into the dark space just as two men entered. Senior security staff loyal to the corrupt executives. One of them spoke harshly. They were here. The erase command started. "Find them." Daniel felt Mara trembling beside him. He gently pressed her hand. Steadying her. Reassuring her. Thanking her without words. The men searched the room. Opened drawers. Checked corners. Walked dangerously close to their hiding spot. Daniel held his breath. One wrong move. One sound. And everything would end here. After a tense minute, the men left. Their footsteps fading down the hall. Mara exhaled shakily, near tears. We almost died." Daniel turned to her, voice steady but full of emotion. "You saved us. Twice. And you saved this company." They slipped out through a side maintenance exit Mara knew, a hidden stairway contractors used, unknown to most employees. When they finally reached the outdoor loading dock, the cold night air felt like freedom. Daniel looked at her, this young woman everyone ignored, overlooked, underestimated. "Mara," he said softly. "You don't know what you've done." She looked down, shyly brushing hair behind her ear. "I just didn't want the wrong people to win." Daniel shook his head. Names were exposed. Accounts revealed. The truth is undeniable. Executives behind the sabotage were arrested by noon. The company's collapse halted. Investors returned calls. Employees breathed again. And in the middle of this storm of redemption, Daniel found Mara in the hallway. Cleaning. Quiet. Just as always. He approached her. "You're not going back to cleaning," he said. Mara blinked, confused. "You're hiring me?" she whispered. "No," Daniel replied gently. "I'm promoting you." Her eyes widened. "To what?" Daniel smiled. "To someone this company can never overlook again." Sunlight poured in from the windows behind them. For the first time in weeks, the building felt alive again. And all because a woman no one noticed. "I noticed everything."